We always think about the potential of AI changing the future. But what about the potential of AI changing the past?
For centuries, the ancient world has remained buried beneath layers of dust, stone, and silence. Entire civilizations vanished, empires collapsed, and sacred writings faded into ash long before modern history could fully understand them. Yet, every so often, something extraordinary emerges from the darkness. Something so astonishing that it forces historians, scientists, and skeptics alike to reconsider what they thought they knew about the past. Deep in the harsh wilderness near the Dead Sea, archaeologists uncovered a small, blackened lump hidden inside the remains of an ancient synagogue. At first glance, it appeared worthless, burned beyond recognition, fragile as charcoal, and impossible to open without destroying it completely. The object seemed destined to remain silent forever. But then, something happened that changed everything. Using advanced artificial intelligence and revolutionary digital imaging technology, researchers attempted the impossible. What they uncovered inside this ancient scroll stunned the academic world and reignited one of history's greatest debates. What emerged from that charred scroll has left even skeptics struggling to explain it. Before we uncover the incredible discovery hidden inside this ancient artifact, take a moment to subscribe to our channel and join us as we explore the mysteries of biblical archaeology, forgotten civilizations, and discoveries that continue to reshape history itself. To understand why this discovery matters so deeply, we must first travel back nearly 2,000 years to a place unlike any other in the ancient world. Along the western shore of the Dead Sea lies Ein Gedi, an oasis surrounded by barren desert cliffs. Even today, the contrast feels almost supernatural. In the middle of one of the harshest environments on Earth, waterfalls flow through palm trees and green vegetation. To ancient people, Ein Gedi was a place of life, surrounded by death. The Bible itself mentions Ein Gedi several times. In the book of 1 Samuel, it became the hiding place of David while he fled from King Saul. 1 Samuel chapter 24, verse 1-2 says, "Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all Israel, and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks of the wild goats." These rocky desert caves became part of biblical history long before the Roman Empire ever existed. By the Byzantine period, centuries after the life of Christ, Ein Gedi had grown into a thriving Jewish settlement. A synagogue stood at the center of the community, serving not only as a place of worship, but also as a guardian of sacred scripture. But sometime around the 6th century AD, disaster struck. The synagogue was destroyed by fire. No one knows exactly what happened. Some historians believe invaders attacked the settlement. Others suspect internal conflict or accidental destruction. Whatever the cause, flames consumed the building, collapsing its roof and burying its treasures beneath layers of ash and debris. Among the ruins lay a single scroll, burned, crushed, unreadable. For nearly 1,500 years, it remained hidden beneath the earth. In 1970, archaeologists excavating the ancient synagogue uncovered the charred remains of the scroll inside the Holy Ark, where sacred texts were traditionally stored. At first, the discovery seemed tragic rather than exciting. The scroll had been completely carbonized by fire. Touching it risked turning it into dust. Attempting to physically unroll it would almost certainly destroy whatever text remained inside. For decades, the artifact sat in storage, unread and seemingly impossible to study. Many believed the contents would never be known. And this is where the story takes a remarkable turn. In the modern age, archaeology no longer depends solely on brushes, shovels, and fragments of pottery. Artificial intelligence, digital reconstruction, and advanced scanning technologies have begun unlocking secrets that human hands cannot safely reach. Researchers from the University of Kentucky, working with experts in computer imaging, decided to attempt something revolutionary. Instead of physically opening the scroll, they would digitally unwrap it. The process sounded almost like science fiction. Using high-resolution CT scanning, scientists captured detailed images of the scroll's internal layers. Every tiny fold and curve inside the blackened artifact was mapped digitally. But seeing the layers was only the beginning. The real challenge involved separating the compressed surfaces and identifying traces of ink hidden inside the carbonized material. To the human eye, the scroll appeared completely black. Distinguishing letters from burned parchment seemed impossible. This is where sophisticated AI-driven software became essential. The computer analyzed microscopic density differences within the material, searching for patterns that might indicate writing. Layer by layer, algorithms reconstructed the hidden surfaces and digitally flattened them into readable pages. Researchers called the process virtual unwrapping. For the first time in human history, a sealed ancient scroll could be opened without ever being touched. And when the text finally appeared on the screen, historians were stunned. Inside the burned Ein Gedi scroll was a portion of the book of Leviticus. Not a paraphrase, not a legend, not a corrupted retelling. It contained the actual Hebrew biblical text. Lines from Leviticus chapters 1 and 2 emerged with extraordinary clarity, including instructions concerning offerings and worship practices given to ancient Israel. Leviticus chapter 1 verse 1 begins, "And the Lord called unto Moses, and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation." For centuries, critics argued that biblical texts must have changed dramatically through copying errors, political manipulation, or legendary evolution. Skeptics often claimed the modern Bible could not possibly resemble the ancient originals. Yet the Ein Gedi scroll told a different story. When scholars compared the text from the scroll to the later Masoretic text, the traditional Hebrew Bible used for centuries, they discovered something astonishing. The wording was nearly identical. Nearly every letter matched. This meant that the biblical text had been preserved with remarkable precision across many centuries. To historians, this was not merely interesting, it was shocking. The scroll dated to around the 3rd or 4th century AD, making it one of the oldest biblical manuscripts ever discovered after the Dead Sea Scrolls. Yet despite the enormous passage of time, the consistency of the text demonstrated an extraordinary dedication to preserving Scripture accurately. Suddenly, arguments claiming that the Bible had been wildly altered over time became much harder to defend. Some may wonder why this discovery created such excitement. After all, ancient manuscripts are discovered regularly. But the Ein Gedi scroll was different for several reasons. First, the technology itself changed archaeology forever. AI had succeeded in recovering text from an artifact once believed permanently lost. Historians realized countless damaged manuscripts around the world might now become readable. Second, the discovery strengthened confidence in the historical transmission of the Hebrew Bible. For generations, scholars debated how accurately scribes copied biblical texts. The Ein Gedi scroll demonstrated that Jewish scribes preserved Scripture with incredible discipline and precision. Psalm 12 verse 6 says, "The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times." To many believers, the discovery felt deeply symbolic. A scroll, literally preserved through fire, emerged centuries later, still carrying the same words. Even many secular historians admitted the findings were extraordinary. The consistency between ancient manuscripts suggested that biblical texts were copied far more carefully than some critics previously assumed. The charred scroll from Ein Gedi should never have survived. Fire consumed it. Time buried it. History forgot it. Yet after 15 centuries of silence, artificial intelligence brought its hidden words back into the light. Inside that burned scroll were not random myths or corrupted legends, but ancient biblical passages preserved with remarkable accuracy across the ages. For historians, it was a technological miracle. For archaeologists, it was a groundbreaking achievement. For many believers, it was something even greater, a powerful reminder that the ancient words preserved in Scripture have endured through fire, destruction, exile, and time itself. And perhaps the most astonishing part of all is this: the scroll waited silently for centuries until humanity finally developed the technology capable of hearing its voice again.